Ukraine's military repelled 55 enemy attacks in the Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Marinka areas in the past 24 hours. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine said this in a post on Facebook, according to Ukrinfor. The enemy is concentrating its main efforts in the Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka and Marinka areas. Heavy fighting continues for the cities of Bakhmut and Marinka. In general, 55 enemy attacks were repelled in the specified areas of the front in the past 24 hours, the post said. No signs of the formation of enemy offensive groups have been recorded in the Volyn and Polissia sectors. In the Suvershina and Slobozhanshina areas, the enemy maintains a military presence in the regions bordering Ukraine. In the past day, the enemy carried out airstrikes on the areas of the settlements of Zarakchia, Leonivka and Kostobobrov of the Chernihiv region and Halukiv of the Sumy region. The settlements of Orlikivka, Timonovichi, Zarakchia, Bleshnia, Zalizny Mist, Arkhipivka, Leonivka, and Buchki of the Chernihiv region, Stara Huta, Saradina Buda, Bakis, Ulano, Vorozhba, Iskryskivshina, and Novorodsky of the Sumy region, as well as Udi, Vovchansk, Plitanivka, Bochkov, Malavovcha, Nestern, Budarki, and Stroivka of the Kharkiv region came under mortar and artillery fire. The enemy did not conduct offensive operations in the Kupiansk area. The enemy launched airstrikes outside the settlements of Ryanikivka and Vilshana. The settlements of Krasny Persh, Fyholivka, Novomlinsk, Zapadna, Lyman Pershi, and Berestov in the Kharkiv region and Novoselivsky and Stelmakivka in the Luhansk region came under artillery and mortar fire. In the Lyman area, the enemy conducted unsuccessful offensive actions in the direction of Spern. The enemy launched airstrikes outside the settlements of Bilohorivka in the Luhansk region, as well as Torsky and Spern in the Donetsk region. The settlements of Stelmakivka, Makivka and Nevsky in the Luhansk region and Bilohorivka and Spern in the Donetsk region were hit by artillery fire. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported on May 5 that Russia had lost 193,210 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes 620 casualties Russian forces suffered just over the past day. In the Bakhmut sector, the enemy continues to conduct offensive action. Fighting continues in the city of Bakhmut, with the occupiers bombarding the city with incendiary and phosphorus ammunition. Throughout the past day, the enemy carried out unsuccessful offensive operations in the direction of the settlements of Kromu, Ivanovsky, Chasiv Yar and Stupochki. The enemy launched airstrikes near the settlements of Bakhmut, Bodanivka, Kurdiamivka and New York. The settlements of Zalizniansk, Orikovo-Vasilivka, Novomarkov, Markov, Bakhmut, Ivanovsky, Chasiv Yar, Stupochki, Oleksandro-Shultin and Leonidivka of the Donetsk region came under enemy shelling. In the Avdiivka area, the enemy conducted unsuccessful offensive operations near Avdiivka and Pervomaysk. The settlements of Karamik, Novokulinov, Osheretine, Berdichi, Avdiivka, Vodian, Pervomaysk, Nevelski, Netailov, Karlivka, and Hostray in the Donetsk region came under shelling. In the Marinka area, units of Ukraine's defense forces repelled multiple enemy attacks outside Marinka. At the same time, the settlements of Krasnohorivka, Heorhivka, Kurakov, and Pobeda in the Donetsk region came under enemy fire. The enemy did not conduct offensive operations in the Shakhtarsk sector. Enemy forces shelled the settlements of Novomikhailivka, Katarinivka, Yelizavetivka, Vuhledar, Pavlivka, Prekostivka, Zolotaniva, Novokranka, Shakhtarsk, and Vlika Novosilka of the Donetsk region. The enemy continues to conduct defensive operations in the Zaporizhia and Kherson sectors. The enemy carried out airstrikes outside Vremivka in the Donetsk region and Huliaipol and Novodanilivka in the Zaporizhia region. Enemy forces shelled more than 50 settlements, including Poltavka, Charivny, Novoandriivka of the Zaporizhia region, Zimivka, Pridniprovsky, Romashkov, Yantarn, Kizimys, Sofivka, Stanislav of the Kherson region and the city of Kherson. According to the General Staff, the Russian occupiers are carrying out the so-called evacuation of local residents from the temporarily occupied city of Tokmak in the Zaporizhia region in the direction of Berdyansk. Representatives of the local authorities, collaborators, children, teachers and educators are subject to this procedure. Long queues for fuel were observed at petrol stations, with all drivers informed that no new fuel deliveries are planned. In the settlement of Vesel, Zaporizhia region, the local police department of the occupation authorities is not functioning. The destruction of documents at this institution was recorded the day before. Over the past 24 hours, the aircraft of the Defense Forces launched 8 strikes on areas where the enemy's personnel and military equipment were concentrated, as well as a strike on the enemy's air defense system. Also, our defenders destroyed 2 attack UAVs and 6 reconnaissance UAVs of the enemy. At the same time, units of rocket forces and artillery hit 2 command posts, 2 areas of concentration of weapons and military equipment of the occupiers, as well as 3 ammunition depots of the enemy, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine concluded. Nuclear concerns and mass evacuations in South Ukraine as Russia keeps up pressure in the east. Russians kept up pressure on eastern Ukraine on May 7 with claims of more ammunition for mercenaries in Bakhmut, and Ukrainians sought shelter from possible air attacks, as UN nuclear officials expressed intense concern over risks to Europe's largest nuclear power plant, at Zaporizhia in southern Ukraine. The head of the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA), Rafael Grossi, said he was extremely concerned as Ukrainian forces stepped up shelling to dislodge Russian forces near the Zaporizhia plant, which was captured early in the 14-month-old invasion. The general situation in the area near the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant is becoming increasingly unpredictable and potentially dangerous, Grossi said in a statement. I'm extremely concerned about the very real nuclear safety and security risks facing the plant. Air raid alerts sounded overnight on May 6 to 7 in many regions of Ukraine amid unpredictable Russian bombardments and ongoing fighting for Bakhmut ahead of a patriotic anniversary in Russia. Late on May 7 and early May 8, Ukrainian media reported explosions in the southern port city of Odessa and that air raid sirens were again blaring in Kyiv and other cities. Earlier, in its morning update on May 7, the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces cautioned that the likelihood of missile and air strikes across Ukraine remains quite high. It said Russian troops were focusing their main efforts in the districts of Lyman, Bakhmut, Avdiivka, and Marinka, in the eastern Donetsk region, with heavy fighting for the cities of Bakhmut and Marinka. Ukrainian General Alexander Syrsky, the commander of Ukrainian ground forces, said the situation in the east was tense but under control. Syrsky said Russian forces have intensified their shelling and have attempted to reorganize troops in the region in recent days. This indicates that the enemy will not change its plans and is doing everything to gain control of Bakhmut and continue its offensive, he said. Ukrainian Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar has said that Russian troops and Wagner mercenaries look to be doing their utmost to capture Bakhmut in a symbolic push by May 9, when Moscow celebrates World War II Victory Day.